welcome to the CRM Zen Show, where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 335 for December 27th, 2024. This is the year in review and the Zenmy Awards. Tyler, how you doing? Did you have a good Christmas?
Yeah, had a great Christmas. Back in town here at home base. So looking forward to the new year at this point. It's flying by. I can't believe we're already into or about to be into 2025.
I know. Absolutely crazy. It's just gone so fast. I got back from California. All good. Away we go. Presents have been unwrapped. It's all good. I bought everything for myself, so it made it easy.
That's the dream.
Yeah,
That is the dream.
Oh, thank you, honey. Every time an Amazon package came, thank you for the gift. It worked out really well. Yeah. All righty. Well, we're going to get right into the Zenmys, or to the year in review, and then the Zenmy, the 5th annual Zenmys, 5 years. But before we get into the year in review, we launched team training last year, and our Zoho team trainings for CRM and projects and desk and campaigns they're very popular. They normally run for, I think it's $1,500. We've got a code right now, which is if you use the code Goodbye 2024, you'll get $1,000 off those courses. You can get them for $500 a piece, or you can just buy them all. We put them in a bundle right now, $1,000 for the whole bundle. I don't even think you need to use the code. Just go to the site.
I don't think you need one on that. Yep.
Yeah. And if you say, what is this team training you're talking about? Well, take a look.
Are you struggling to get your team trained in using Zoho effectively? Considering the hefty costs of team meetings and onboarding sessions dedicated to Zoho training, there has to be an easier way. Say hello to efficiency with our Zoho team training courses. Zoho CRM made easy. Become a project management pro, top-tier customer support, and maximize your marketing impact. Are you ready to equip your team? Start today at zenatta.com/training and let us lead the way.
Wow, Tyler, what a year it has been. As always, when we do the year in review, we like to tell you how we're doing. And, this year we got the Zoho Partner of the Year Award. We also got one, Tyler, for content excellence.
Got it on my desk.
That's right. So, we've been doing the Zenmys for 5 years, and it turns out we were way ahead of our time, because in 2020, we gave ourselves the Partner of the Year Award.
No bias, totally open vote. Yeah, no bias at all.
Best Partner North America 2020. We knew it was going to happen even back then, but it was kind of nice to have Zoho recognize us as the Partner of the Year. Also, we released not one, but 2 applications into the marketplace. The Zenatta CRM Health Check, that basically runs through your CRM, tells you if you've got duplicates, tells you user permissions. It does a whole bunch of things, kind of something you might want to run every month or whatever. And we're going to be making some updates to that in the coming year. And also our Google address autocomplete. So if you're saying, gosh, I just would be able to like to type in 111 Main Street and have it give me the possibilities for that, it'll do it and then autocomplete it for you as well. And we launched a new team training course, our marketing team training. So we've had a busy year.
Yeah, very busy year. Really proud of the team for getting those marketplace extensions up and running. I mean, it's kind of a new thing for us, not something that we had built in the past. So really cool to see those. Really excited for what's next year, especially some of the updates that we're thinking about for the health check. So keep an eye on those for 2025.
And also, our subscriber growth, we want to thank everybody. We had across 21,000 subscribers on YouTube, over 6,000 subscribers to our newsletter, up 1,000 subscribers on Club Zenatta, and we actually did a big purge on a couple of these, so it's kind of nice to see them go up, and so it's fantastic. So I want to thank everybody for supporting us there. And a lot of angels got their wings this year, so we had 7 new YouTube angels, and if you don't know, 2 newsletters, 1 Club Z. That means every time we hit a new 1,000 subscribers in any of those things, well, it's like when you hear a bell ring, but in this case, an angel gets its wings. And so thank you again, everybody, for your support there. And Zoho released not one, not two, not three, but 4 new applications this year. Did any of these jump out at you, Tyler?
Yeah, tables is pretty cool. I know there's kind of some cool use cases for that. Of course, it's kind of like a lightweight version of something like an Airtable or a Smartsheet. Has some integrations to other Zoho apps. So if you want to work with like some CRM data in a tabular format, that can be really nice. I'm interested to see payments over time, their pricing structure there. There's a decent amount of people that may actually save money in moving over to payments versus like a Stripe or Authorize.net. So yeah, really cool to see these new applications. Definitely a lot of work internally on the existing ones, which is always where I think a lot of the bread and butter comes from. But yeah, busy year for Zoho for sure with the application suite.
It was. And Zoho Solo is, if I remember, it's basically Zoho one for one user. Is that what it was?
It's like a lightweight version of a bunch of apps. You can kind of like send some invoices, track your customers, like mobile only, I believe. So it's not like
yes,
not a bundle. It's actually its own standalone thing with some pretty simple functionality. But if you're like a solopreneur, maybe you're a local handyman, right? You need contacts. You need to be able to invoice them, right? And that's pretty much going to get you where you need to go. So definitely a good one. I'm interested to see the adoption of that over time.
Fantastic. Well, and if you follow the show, you know we do a show every single week. And when we're doing the show, basically the team puts together a whole bunch of show notes around all of the new links to all of the new articles for updates. So, and then Tyler and I kind of go through them before the show and we'll say, okay, these will be in the show. And then we'll mark a couple of them as major, if it's a major update or a notable update. And then the team basically compiles these. And so we can kind of go back and look at the year that was on a month by month basis. So with that, we're going to jump right into January. Some major things stood out here. So Zoho CRM had a new data model feature, email support for the vendors module, and cadences were released. Cadence is the big one out of that, would you say, in January?
Yeah, I think with CRM, a big effort they've had, and it started kind of like last year, and it's really went into full gear this year, is covering some of those bases that probably should have been there a little while ago. 2023 was the year of like new shiny stuff in CRM, but shiny things that most people don't really need. Something like email support for vendors seems minor, but if you work with a lot of vendors, that's actually a huge update. Cadences are essentially like a structured way to do like your outbound, right? So new lead comes in, you want to work them through a flow. So yeah, done a couple builds with that. And while it's simple right now, it is still a pretty solid tool. So Recruit also got some updates for their custom function editor, really just making it look more like the one in CRM, which everybody's going to be pretty happy with. And then Sign, of course, kind of they've been on this kick for a while. They just want to cover every different type of authentication that people may need. So they've added some more. I think they have a couple throughout this year where you see those get added. And then the field detection from PDF. So if you're to drag in a W-9, it's going to read through it and see like, hey, you probably want a field here. You probably want a field there, which just saves you a little bit of time as you're setting up a document.
Nice stuff there in January. And then in February, some enhancements to email intelligence, Ask Zia Presentation. Zia Presentation I thought was pretty cool. That's basically if you have a dashboard, it will take the dashboard and turn it into a presentation for you. It basically just makes PDFs of all of the various slides in that. That was good. FSM, which came out the previous year, I think, was that 2023? Yep. They continue to improve as well. Offline support, kind of, sort of. It's still like 100 most current records were put in, right?
Not full offline support, but it's good enough at this point where most clients are going to be able to use that offline mode to satisfy what they need. And then honestly, in this month, the biggest one is the Sign update, where they introduced user groups, roles, and profiles. Before that, in Zoho Sign, you were either God or peasant. There was no middle ground in terms of what type of access you could have. So they created this new structure. You definitely need to double check it, right? You got to read through it. It's very detailed in how you're going to set up these different sharing rules, but the important takeaway is you can have different teams, you can have hierarchies, you can set up those types of sharing rules where, hey, maybe the contract review team for sales can see all of sales contracts, but they can't see all of HRs for like hiring a new VP. Like they don't need to see that. So you can create those different groupings much more easily now, or I mean, just in general, because you kind of just couldn't before. So that one was a huge one for especially larger companies that are using Zoho Sign.
Absolutely. We were very, very happy with that because, like you said, you were king or peasant, nothing in between. And now, now it actually can be very useful in the setup there. So a lot of things happen with Sign this year, and we'll be covering those as we go through. In March, Kiosk Studio was released, and rich text fields were finally kind of put in. You talk about Kiosk, I'll talk about rich text.
Yeah, so Kiosk is a really cool one. It's basically just a way to create a process in CRM that isn't locked into any particular module and where you can run searches across different modules. So like an example is maybe you want a user interface where on the homepage, you can add a deal to a pipeline and you're choosing an account, choosing a contact, typing in some data, and then it's going to create that for you. Or you've got 5 products on a quote, you want to split it into 2 quotes. You could have a kiosk that runs through, you pick these 2, you pick the new date, and it splits them for you. So a really robust tool. We're finding a lot of use cases for kiosk already this year.
Yeah. And one of the biggest things that's been asked for in the CRM was the ability to drop in a rich text box. So you could take notes and actually format your texts with, bullets and bold and italics and just everything you can do in rich text. That was put in. But you can't export the format. There were some other things around it that, it's still good, but you can't really do much with that data. Like you could grab regular note data. You still can, I guess, in rich text, right? But the formatting gets taken away, correct?
Exactly. Yeah, there's some issues around APIs, and they're not in the CRM notes. That's where a lot of people want rich text, is in that traditional notes section, and they do not support it right there. So that is one little caveat with these rich text fields.
Yeah. The workaround would be create a custom module called notes, just put a big rich text field in there, maybe a date, a time, whatever you want there, and then link it back, and you could just keep your notes that way, but not optimal. It'd be nice to see it there as well. And then Zoho Workly, this is an application we always admit we've really never implemented or done anything with, but if you are using it, does real-time scheduling. It's a little different than, what do they call, Zoho Shifts?
Yeah, Zoho Shifts. Zoho Shifts is very lightweight. Very lightweight. Workly is a lot more robust. If you have like a large temp workforce, that's where Workly is going to come into play.
Yeah, so they made some nice changes to that. And then watch out Airtable, watch out Smartsheets, because Zoho Table dropped in March. And if you get my reference there, it basically is Zoho's third project management software. So Zoho Projects, Zoho Sprints, and now Zoho Tables. It is kind of the standard spreadsheet based, more like Airtable if you used Airtable.
Yeah, right.
Kind of a thing. And
it is an interesting one because it's they've released it and I feel like there haven't been a lot of updates for it. It's one application this year that I think this is probably the only time that you're going to hear about it, is that it was released. I have not seen a lot of activity, right? Kind of iterating and improving.
Yeah. And then we move into April, which is the cruelest month. Breeding lilacs out of daffodils. Little love song of J. Alfred Prufrock for you there. So go look up T.S. Eliot. They made a musical, Cats. I think I do the same bit every year, Tyler.
I think so.
April. I think so. Anyway, CRM for everyone, which is just a completely new user interface for Zoho CRM. And the jury is still out on this one, I think. And I don't know if they're going to force this or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'd imagine they will eventually, just because it doesn't make sense to maintain both of them at a certain point. But we will have to see. We've got some videos on this on the channel that kind of go through everything that's new and different. It's the same. Like when you're looking at a record, it's going to be pretty much the same. It's kind of the way that list views work, and some of the sharing permissions are a little more granular in it. So Yeah, not a bad update, but one that like I haven't moved over. I just haven't felt the need to just quite yet.
Well, I feel like we're going to have to, at some point, re-record our entire CRM team training,
It's on the list for next year. Yep.
and probably not get rid of the old one. It's probably going to
No.
be, are you using Classic or are you using this? And some of the modules, some of the lessons won't change, but then some will. So it's going to be a bit problematic. And I mean, if they do make the change, also so many of our videos on YouTube are going to have to be refreshed and updated, and the excitement. I can hardly wait. Also, Zoho Learn 2.0 was released. That is Zoho's internal LMS. So if you have Zoho 1, it comes with it. So now you've got an LMS for your entire company. You can use it as a repository, put training videos there, documents there. We use it a lot internally here at Zenatta. And so pretty nice update.
Yeah, pretty good one. Being able to do the portals is really nice because you can almost kind of do an external learn environment now when you use those. Like you still can't really like charge for it, but if you wanted to, you can do it a little more easily with some of the external sharing rules. And then lastly, some updates to Zoho sites. We don't talk a lot about Zoho sites because in most cases, it just makes sense to have your site on WordPress, or if you're doing e-commerce, Shopify potentially. I will say there was one feature that they added with this 2.0 re-release that they did this year, which is essentially the ability to create a page on a Zoho site where when a user loads it, you have a piece of script that you've written in Deluge that's going to query APIs and bring back that data to show it on that page. I think that's a really cool idea. I haven't seen anyone implement it quite yet. And I know that when I had initially played with it, it was kind of slow. I think I got it when it was in early access, though, so that might not be an issue anymore. But I do think that is really cool, right? Like you're a real estate agent, you have a listings module, right? You've got a page, it reaches in, it just grabs that data. Like it's a really cool idea. So I definitely could see a scenario where Zoho sites can be useful as some type of subdomain, right? Where like you've got your primary, but then you want to see our active listings, it drops you into a site. So there's a use case there for that there wasn't
before. Is it able
before.
to pull any images from the module? Do you know?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
Very cool. Very cool. We've actually done that with WordPress where
but it's a lot of work.
Pulls everything from a record in the CRM and creates an entire WordPress page. It can be done. You're right, though, that that's simpler would be much, much, much better across the board.
Yeah.
All righty. And then May, not a lot in May, but Zoho CRM now allows sending emails and syncing conversations with custom email addresses. I have no idea what this one was. Do you remember?
So this is like, let's say you are a customer-facing financial manager and you're going to work with Brett and his spouse. You might have a field on the record called spouse email that you've added. And previously, the problem was the emails sent to your email in that primary field will show up in the related list. But like, let's say, your spouse responded, that wouldn't show up because it's not syncing through that primary address. Now it will. So it's actually like, again, a lot of people can get away with just the main email, maybe the default secondary email field. But if you do have a more unique scenario, like maybe you've got a customer, but in a lot of your transactions, your customer has a lawyer involved, right? And you have their email address, like on a deal or on a contact, those will sync into that related list. So again, another one of those little ones that like when you read it, it seems minor, but it's actually really useful for the people that need that feature. So I was happy to see that one.
So would that also apply? Because it used to be, like you said, you had primary and secondary. Those would sync over. Basically, it's looking at IMAP. It's pulling them in what's in your address, but you can pull in. So now if you had a third one,
you just create your own custom email address field. Those are now set up to also work with IMAP.
Right. Because there are a lot of industries where people move around a lot, and that was always kind of a problem. Like, well, it's still John, and John is now at this company, but I want to keep his old company, right? And just kind of so I could have all those emails historically. So super, super nice. And then Zoho Writer added organization fonts. I don't remember what this was. That a font?
Like if you wanted a default for your organization.
Oh, that's right. You would set your font across the entire thing for Writer, right?
Yep.
Yes. Got it. Very good. All right. Let's move on to, I guess we'll go into June. Oh, what happened in June? Something.
Yeah, something happened in June.
Where were we in June? Oh, did we talk about this? Oh, yeah, partner of the year. Yeah. June, we all went down to Austin, Texas. We got the whole team there. Josh, Greg, me, Tyler, John. And that is Vijay in the middle there. And we got the award. And we were all down there for a week and had a grand old time. And Zoho didn't stop. Even though they were putting on Zoholics, they kept doing things. So Zoho CRM dynamic filters for lookup fields. Big, right?
Very nice. Yeah, very nice.
Yep.
They added the filters a while back, but you had to hard code the value. So it would work well if you had like a contact lookup and you want to filter on type equals lawyer. This was like, I want to take a field in my record and use that to filter a lookup. So it could be like skill set, and then I only want to pick a lawyer that has the appropriate skill set or whatever it may be for you. That's a really nice one because you used to have to only be able to do that with a client script, which a lot of people can't configure. So really good update.
Very, very nice. Some changes to the Kanban view. This is all part of the ongoing process of breaking up what used to be called activities, where you would have tasks and calls and what else was in there? Something
Meetings.
task calls, meetings, all lumped into one. They've now been broken up. It's allowing some changes to Kanban views. We're still not 100% there, but we're almost there, I think, with that.
Yep.
Yeah. And then unified domain verification across Zoho services. That was handy.
Especially if you're
Which
on
one?
Zoho 1. Also, that during June, data prep rolled into 2.0. This was a really big update because data prep, it's version 1. It was pretty much just like a quick little data cleanup tool that we didn't really find too much use case for. Now they've really positioned it as like a data pipeline tool. So with this update, they added the flowchart builder. They added a lot more import and export options. So, I mean, you even have, I haven't tested it yet, but you have something like QuickBooks Desktop, which can be a data output source. So you may actually be able to set up a flow where some data starts in Zoho and lands in a desktop application, which is normally kind of like a DOA because they're not going to have an API that we can use.
Right.
So really nice one. I like where they're going with that application, and the flowchart builder makes it way easier to use.
All right. Rounding the corner on the year, we move into July. CRM, you got org assignment of records based on user roles. That was pretty nice. Not having to actually do some scripting on the back end to handle all of that. You could now kind of set it up, And mandate kiosks in blueprints. What was that? Can't remember.
Yeah, so this is where like maybe as part of a blueprint process, you want to have the user search for an account, let's say. That really just wasn't feasible in a blueprint previously. You'd have to do something kind of weird. So now you can plug in these little kiosks where you're, maybe as part of a blueprint, it looks through the products related to the deal and you pick the primary, right? So maybe that'll affect the way you onboard or whatever it may be. So it's basically just being able to bake in like a search records and a select into a blueprint process, which you don't always need to, but when you do, that's actually a really nice way to do it.
Yeah. And over on Zoho Marketing Automation, Zoho launched its own SMS gateway for marketing automation. So if you were sending out an email and then you wanted it to be a text, that was now they had their own gateway used there. Still other options out there you can use, but Zoho did their own.
Yep.
And then Zoho Inventory added bin locations. That was crazy that it wasn't there for so long.
And I will say, in July, active viewers may notice that we do not have a video on bin locations. I tried to record one in July, and I could not get that thing to work in a way that I liked, where it actually made sense for bin locations. I haven't touched it since, and they've made updates to it. So it could be working totally fine, but as of July, I was not super stoked with how those really worked. So one that we need to circle around to for sure, but a really nice feature that they have now, and they're going to keep working on because there's a lot of demand for it. Then a couple quick ones. So with Biggin, they added a quick little widget for Zoho Mail, kind of similar to what you have in CRM with its mail integration. And then Zoho Click got call permissions, which are really just setting the ability of who can integrate with a like VoIP provider essentially into Zoho Click.
And was that Begin widget, was that a topping, Tyler?
It was, yeah, it is a topping. They're all toppings. That's what they call integrations. I'll never forget when Josh, he was doing something with Biggin and he didn't know that that's what they called toppings. He couldn't find integrations. He was trying to like record a quick video. He's like, do they not have any integrations? Nope, they are called toppings in Biggin. So be on the lookout for that.
There you go. Little sprinkles right on top there.
Exactly.
All right, moving on to August here. Another biggin. You've got a new record screen tool, which you found a little bug in Biggin. You can just record it. Still don't have that in CRM. Hello.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
It's kind of nice. And Zoho Payments launched. So you're tired of using Stripe? You're tired of your credit card processor? Zoho Payments. Their fees are pretty similar.
Yeah, they're pretty similar. It's they've got, what is it? It's 2.7 and 30 cents, and then Amex's are like 2.9 or 3 or something like that. Yeah. So honestly, like the thing with something like Stripe is you end up integrating it to so many tools that it gets really hard to switch off of it. But if you're only running payments through Zoho Books, you should check out payments, because if you do the math, you may save money on it at the end of the day. And especially if your clients don't ever pay through ACH. Like, one thing we love about Stripe is that they have baked in ACH functionality. And if anyone wants to pay with something that isn't a credit card, we want to let them save a little bit on fees. But yeah, definitely well worth taking a look at payments, especially like newer business. You're not hooked into a bunch of things with your processor yet. Well worth taking a look.
All righty, rolling into September. Man, this year's going fast, Tyler. CRM, you got enhancements to permission features for assessing and sharing emails. So accessing and sharing emails. So basically, when you're in CRM, if everybody in the company has got their IMAP properly set up, all of the emails are going to pull in, but maybe you only want certain people to see certain things. They really kind of lock down those permissions a little bit better. Used to be you could just say, I'm going to exclude everything from Zenatta.
Yeah, before your permissions were pretty much like public or private. And that was it. What this is they kind of added the emails to like the role structure data sharings. So like salespeople only see their own, sales manager sees the emails of the people underneath them, and so on and so forth, which is what you really want most of the time. So really good one. Couple other quick updates: marketing automation, adding a connector for Instagram. Again, one day will make sense what they're doing with that app. For now, we're still using campaigns. And then PDF editor releases its free online editor. So it's kind of the release of that product. It's pretty solid. We've actually used it. We've used it a couple of times internally where we get a PDF from a client and we just need to make a quick edit to it before we like turn it into a template or whatever it may be. And like one less tool that you have to go and buy. Right. So why not with the PDF editor?
Absolutely. And then in October, a whole slew of updates for CRM: enhanced subform management on the details page, enhanced tag management. With import overwrite, expanded language support, and enhanced data exposure for portal users. I think the big ones here is going to be the subform. Yeah, special
shout out to Zoho for rolling that out. That is one that, man, we've just been waiting for a long time. So for those who don't know, the subform is essentially like a table of data that you add to a record. This could be like a table of products that are on your deal. And they're really great. They're easy to use. The problem is you always had to click on edit, pull up the actual edit page, and then go work with the subform. This basically allows you to just interact with it from the view page like you do with every other field. So huge quality of life improvement. I know it's just one button press, right, to click on edit. It's not that big of a deal, but you might have a lot of formatting. You might have canvas view, right? There's all these reasons that you don't want to have to click that edit button, and now you don't have to. So big shout out to Zoho for that. That's a huge one.
And a minor one, but for those of you who use tags, it used to be that it would, when you did an import, it would just kind of overwrite everything with the tags.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And now you can append. You can say, oh, I want to append, so I've already got 5 tags. I just went to a trade show. I'm uploading this. So you're saying, hey, if it exists, just append. If it's new, just create. And that was kind of a big one because before, tags were virtually made useless because of that. So on imports and exports anyway. So that was nice.
Yep.
All righty. And I guess I'll do want to mention also here Zoho Portal. Zoho has portals for almost every one of their apps. CRM has its own portal on the back end. We don't talk about it a lot, but man, they're making improvements to that day by day by day. And this was another one. More things you could pull in and expose in the portal if you were just using the general portal login there. So
Yeah.
Alrighty. Desk got blueprint transitions for instant messaging tickets. So if an instant messaging ticket came in, you basically could apply a blueprint to it like you can in CRM and move it along.
Yeah, absolutely.
Biggin got a new typing. It did. Got Zoho Projects integration. Biggin started off with nothing, and these toppings that they're adding, very similar to what they're doing with Desk, where it's got the core set of features, but then you basically get all these marketplace applications you drop in. With Biggin, they've just been adding one thing after another, books and projects and kind of everything else into it. So, yeah. And then WorkDrive got an image editor. I haven't played with that much. Is it any good?
No, I haven't tried it out.
Okay, very good. Are we ready for November? Well, yes,
I think so.
We are. All righty. CRM Wizards with cross-screen field support and a back button. The back button was big.
Back button was pretty big. Yeah, and the cross-screen field support, like the way that comes in is you might make a choice at step 1, and then you can carry that field forward to step 2 and kind of use it in like a layout rule within the wizard. So you're able to carry those forward. Categorizing report values. This is another, it sounds minor, but it's pretty big. This is basically the idea of you've got lead source and you've got 10 options in there. Well, you might want to run a report of how many inbound leads versus outbound leads have we created. You can essentially bucket up those different values. So like these 5 call them inbound, these 5 call them outbound, and then give me my report of inbound versus outbound. Other one too there is queries. Queries rolled out for Zoho CRM. We've got a couple videos on this over on the channel. They're pretty cool. So it's really just a way to create a custom related list on a record. You could do that already, but you had to use code and you had to use XML to create a custom related list. So we could do them, but a lot of normal users can't. Use case for this is like maybe I'm on an account. We do a lot of business with them. So we could have like 20, 30, 40 quotes related to this account, but only 10 of them were won. And I just want a list of the quotes that we won with this person. You can have that query set up and then add it as a custom related list. Currently, they can only go into Canvas views, but they will be able to be added to the standard layout. They're just still working on that part.
Alrighty, and Zoho Payroll is now supported in all 50 states. Very, very nice. It does come with a couple big caveats here, though, with Zoho Payroll. So Zoho Payroll is really just going to produce your W-2s, produce your pay stubs, those kind of things. They're not going to actually do your payroll, and they're not going to file your taxes. So, if you've got all the withholding taxes, those need to be forwarded along to the government. But so you can run your payroll, but you still then have to manually, it's not like your payroll.
Yeah, like you have to actually still send the money separately.
Right. But people can log in and they can see their W-2, see what it look like, and see their pay stubs for each thing as they go through. But you still are having to manage that whole payment structure. I don't know. I mean, if they've got it, I think I read something that it will produce a report for ACH bulk upload if your bank supports it, but a few things around there. And, I know we talked about it. Maybe I was out of town. I guess Zoho Click version 6. We love Click. I use it every day. I didn't notice anything changed. Were there some major things in here?
I have no idea. They called it 6.0, but really it was a lot of back-end improvements to like performance, like the audio video quality and things like that. So yeah, I didn't notice too many like feature differences. I have noticed that the calls are a little better. So that's definitely a win, but it was funny to call it a 6.0.
And if you're a user of Zoho Webinar used to be a part of meetings. They broke it out. Zoho Webinar is now its own product, so you can do live webinars on it. Let's say you do that live webinar, or you don't post it over on YouTube. You basically just have a webinar. You can now make them on demand. So that could be your kind of your standalone thing. where
Yep.
people can just log in and watch your webinar directly inside a Zoho webinar, which was good for Zoho. Good for Zoho webinar. All righty. And wrapping it up with December. This is all new to me because I was gone almost the whole month. So I guess Biggin got more toppings, Zoho Sign, Sales IQ, and marketing automation.
Why not?
Why not?
Why the heck not? Zoho Sign then got enhanced security with witness signing. This is basically like if you want a third party to validate that a thing occurred. They are kind of like a sub-signer of your client. So you can actually add a field where they would sign the document, but they're not like they're not applied to that agreement. They verified that it occurred. Like we talked about last week, Zoho Practice got a 2.0. That's primarily for accountants, and even more primarily for accountants who work with clients who work with Zoho Books. They are working on expanding it to work even better with non-Zoho Books options, but definitely that's their primary use case there.
Yep, and FSM added equipment management. So FSM is chugging along. I think I'm predicting 2025 is FSM's big year. I'm just going to say that right now. And every year, Tyler, we compile a wish list. Dear Zoho, here's what we would like to see in 2024. And this is what we asked for. So granted, rich text multi-line field was added to the CRM, as we discussed. It's not perfect, but you know what? We did get it. Almost, we wanted increased bandwidth and compute across data centers. It did drastically improve throughout the year, I think, but I don't think it's quite where it needs to be yet. And simplified Zoho voice pricing structure, that fell into the almost category, or what did we get there?
It's a week almost. They definitely restructured it a little, but it's still for like a normal user to land on that pricing page and figure out what they're going to need to pay. It's just frustrating. Zoho, please just raise the price a little and remove the per minute charges. Every company has moved, or a lot of companies have moved away from that because people don't like unpredictable prices. Like, what if you have a busy month? Now you pay way more. It's actually a pretty good tool, like when I went through and I recorded our tutorial on it, I was pleasantly surprised, like the IVR interface, the flow chart, you make the numbers, you assign them, pretty good. I really like the Chrome plugin that it has because when you place a call in CRM, it lets you log the call result a lot more easily than the native phone bridge integration. But when I'm on a sales call with somebody and I have to pull up that page and try to figure out like what they're going to have to pay, they go, well, couldn't I just pay $18 a month for Ring Central? And I'm like, yeah, you surely can. And then that's it. You have unlimited minutes. You don't have to think about it anime. So yeah, it would be really nice to make that a little easier to work with.
Yeah. And then there's actually an error here on the almost, because permission configuration updates in Zoho Sign, that was granted. We got those, right? But we did not for forms and survey. That is still a big one that you have to do. Basically, if you create a form, nobody in the whole company can do anything with it. Doesn't matter if you're a super admin. Doesn't matter who you are. Whoever creates the form owns the form. They're the only ones that could do anything with the form.
Yeah, like you can share it and they can add a field, but then they can't change the integration settings. So really, they can't add a field because obviously you need that field to go somewhere. So it's tricky. And then survey, it still just has this thing, man, of it is so easy for a user to accidentally create a new department and then make their survey in there that you always go into a client account and you see like 5 departments in survey every time because it just does, even if you're in Zoho 1, I add you to survey, you log in, coin flip, it's probably going to make you a new department. And then you got to back all that out, recreate the survey, yada, yada, yada. So definitely one that I'd love to see improve a bit.
And then denied, we wanted to add a native SMS functionality in Zoho Voice. That's kind of a big one. I was talking to the Zoho, I swear they were saying you can do it now with a couple plugins and some other stuff, but it's not real native. So that's Zoho, you win the game. Zoho Voice wins if it supports SMS in the CRM and it logs it to the records. I mean, that's kind of a holy grail. We'll talk about that when we get to the Zenmys. It's one of the things people really look for and they ask for a lot. Simplification of Zoho bundles. Well,
there's only more bundles than there's ever been before. Yeah. It is kind of crazy. I mean, you've got so many different kind of product specific bundles, department specific bundles, and there's so much overlap between a lot of them. Like I was talking to a client the other day and they were talking to Zoho, the Zoho sales team, and they were thinking about getting CRM Plus for some of their team and then Marketing Plus for some of their team. But then there's a lot of overlap in those. Like they both have
Right.
campaigns. So like, are you going to have the same campaigns org, or are those going to be two? It would just be nice if some of these were a little more
And they
streamlined. Like,
also
I
have
get it. I
they
get why
have
they do
they
it.
have build a bundle now. They have build a
Yeah,
bundle. You can
CRM
go in.
Flex. Yeah.
Yeah, CRM Flex. Yes. So you can go in
Yep.
and say, I want this many users in CRM,
Yeah.
this. And
And I think
but it,
CRM Flex, that's an interesting one because I'm honestly surprised that Zoho rolled that out, because I would bet you 75-80% of people who are on CRM Plus would
yes.
probably be able to save money by switching to CRM Flex. And I don't know why they would do it. It's great for customers because, with CRM Plus, you're basically paying for every user to have access to campaigns and survey and these different tools, but they probably don't need access. You probably have 5-10% of your team that are going to go in there. So, interesting what they've done with the product suite. It makes sense that they have so many different bundles because they have so many different apps and not everyone needs all of them, but it does just make the decision process really hard for a lot of clients.
And one that the marketing team has always wanted, and this we need to integrate Zoho CRM,
I want
Forms, and
this
Sales IQ.
every year. I'm never going to take this one off until they do it. This is integrating CRM, Forms, and Sales IQ, so that if I have a form on my website, a user lands on my website and fills out the form, I want a way for the Sales IQ visitor ID to come in with that form. Because it's one of those big things where what someone wants later is they're like, hey, if a prospect has been on this page more than 5 times, I want to notify our sales team. And you can absolutely do that if you've de-anonymized the visitor, but you can't de-anonymize them when they fill out the form. They have to click through an email later with some URL parameters, and then you know who they are. And that doesn't always happen. And so this is one of the big things that, I know it's the bad guy's name, but that HubSpot does extremely well is any HubSpot form just de-anonymizes them and you know who they are and you know their web traffic and everything. And so the reality is Zoho has all the tools. They're right there. It's right there. They just need to click them together a little bit tighter. And then I will shut up about this. I promise.
It'll probably be a
Man,
topic
it
in
would be
big
so
and
nice.
soon. It'll probably be a topic in big and you'll just be fine. It'll be there.
True.
You
Hey, if I can do
know.
it at big and that's fine. I'll integrate that to CRM and I'll be good. Use it as middleware.
All right. So for our 2025 wish list, it's the ungranted wishes from 2024. And because we can, and because we're a little greedy, and it never hurts to ask, because all you could do is say no, here's our list for 2025. Oh, it's the same thing in bold.
Pretty please. Wish list for 2025, that same integration I'm just talking about, CRM, Forms, and Sales IQ. Instant sync for Zoho Analytics with the core applications. I'm not asking for every app. They've got so many connectors. I'm not even asking for all Zoho apps. But for those core applications that the vast majority of customers use, CRM, Desk, Projects, Books, man, it would be nice to have an instant sync. You find yourself, if you're creating like a dashboard for a sales rep, you oftentimes do that with the native CRM dashboards, and they don't look as good and they're not quite as useful, but we'll opt to go that way because they update instantly. And so, man, it would surely be a great thing if we could start rounding out some of those core applications and getting them on an instant sync basis with analytics.
Well, it solves, not only is, I would say I'm begging for an instant sync between just CRM and Desk, CRM and Books. Right?
Oh, yeah, don't even get me started.
Actually, reverse that. Books and CRM would, either one, but they have to be instant. It causes so many problems.
Mm-hmm.
So many problems with, especially if you're in Books and create a customer there, it doesn't show up in CRM for a while, and it's too much there. So would love to see that as well. Well, Zoho, all in all, an amazing year. shout out to all of the product teams over at Zoho and everything they did. It was just fantastic. I'm looking forward to 2025. I think it's going to be equally as good. And with that, Tyler, drum roll, please. It is time for the 5th annual Zenmys.
Zenatta Consulting and the CRM Zen Show presents the 5th Annual Zenmy Awards.
Okay.
Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome
It's
page.
the Zenmys. You know, who knew back in 2000 we would just keep doing this over and over again? But this is exciting. It's probably one of my favorite things we do every year. And it's really because not us. We basically put it out there and we say, hey, everyone, what are your favorite Zoho apps? What are your favorite marketplace applications? What are you using? And the response is always excellent. So here are the results across the board for various things that you voted on that are getting the Zenmys this year. Take it away, Freddie.
Favorite telephony application, and the nominees are Zoho Voice, Ring Central, and 3CX Phone System.
Ooh. So I'm going to bet it's going to be Ring Central, and I'm going to bet it's Ring Central because of the really nifty third-party SMS integrations that are out there. What do you think?
Yeah,
You're
I'd love it.
betting that.
I'd love for it to be Zoho Voice. I don't know if enough people use it where they would have voted for it. That's my one concern, because I do think it's good, but I think a lot of people bounce off it because of the pricing. So if I were a betting man, I'd probably bet on Ring Central.
And I think 3CX might be a new one.
Contender. Yeah,
A new
I've seen more
contender.
people starting to use it. It's pretty good. It is a pretty good tool.
All right, Freddie, and the winner is... Shout out to Ring Central. I know that we kind of called that one, but solid application. It really is, and the pricing's predictable. You know, the only
The
thing
nice
I would
thing
say,
there, honestly, what I oftentimes will tell people on, initial prospecting calls is the thing with Ring Central is it's not the shiniest, fanciest thing in the world, but you turn it on, you get your phone numbers, you click integrate to CRM, and it's integrated, and you don't need to think about it anymore, and it's just going to work. So I think that's why a lot of people end up sticking around.
agreed. Be careful. They like to rope you into some multi-year contracts, and they're very hard to get out of. If
They
you
really want to sell you headsets. They really want to sell you headsets.
They want to sell a lot of
But
stuff.
once you're up and running, it is a pretty good tool.
If you're trying it, I recommend you buy it monthly with no obligation and make sure that you like it. And then if you do, go ahead and get roped into the multi-year contract.
I'd say that about just about any software tool, Zoho included. If you can try it monthly, try it monthly. It never hurts.
But, we've got to give Zoho credit for that because just in the entire ERP CRM side of things, Salesforce, HubSpot, long-term contracts.
Oh, and they're getting more and more aggressive with it. And I'd never seen HubSpot has got way more aggressive over the last 2 years with their contracting terms. And Zoho they do their thing then. Yeah, you get your discount for annual, but you can just sign up for monthly if you want. It's no pressure.
But also, if you buy annually and 6 months later you're like, "Hey, I'm canceling," they give you a refund. They give you a partial refund on your money too. It's not like, "Oh, sorry, the money's ours." So anyway, kudos to Zoho. Next up on the Zenmys,
Favorite marketplace application, and the nominees are SMS for Zoho CRM by Cinch Message Media, Zenatta Google Address AutoComplete for Zoho CRM, and WorkDrive for Zoho CRM.
Look at us. We snuck into the final 3. Very, very, very nice. I'll probably are just people just kept voting over and over and over and over and over again.
Probably.
But there's a pattern here, and that is another SMS tool that was in there, which is Cinch.
Formerly Smooth Messenger. You might know them as Smooth Messenger from back in the day. Again, there's one of those ones. I think they win almost every year. I don't think it's going to be different this year. I think it's going to be Cinch. It's such a good plugin. I'd love if we won. I would, but I don't expect to. Honestly, their plugin is 5 years in the making, and that thing is easily the best SMS tool for Zoho.
It really. So you think it's a cinch for them to win this year?
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
All right. I think you are correct as well. Freddie, what do we got? Fantastic. Those are great people over there. We've done webinars with them. Really, really good stuff. And I hear that they are going to be rolling out their own voice in the US. That will be interesting.
I would love that. I would really love that.
If they do that, that is really going to be a big, big win for them across the board. All righty. And I think that brings us to our final category. Is that application of the year? Am I correct, Freddie?
And now, the main event, favorite Zoho application.
All right. So I think we have, what do we do? The top five? Five and four being honorable mentions, and then our top three for bronze, silver, and gold. So
yeah,
excited to see these. There's always the old reliables, but I'm interested to see if any new ones can break in or if there's any shakeups. We'll have to take a look.
Yes. Number 5.
Oh, we have a tie. We've got a tie going.
Three-way tie. Was that Creator, Work Drive, and Books? It kind of came across
Creator, Work Drive, and Books. Three-way tie.
Three-way tie. Very, very, very nice. All right. Well, that's interesting. What would I have no idea. What's number 4? Yeah. Number 4. A brand new entry into the top 5.
Yeah. So no, it's a good one. We used to always have odds and ends issues with it. This is years ago now, but you used to have a bit of a reliability issue. And yeah, they've kind of sorted that out. And we found over time that it can be really nice to build applications in Flow because of the error logging and testing is a little better than Deluge. So I bet more and more people, now that it's more stable, are kind of moving that way.
And Zoho Flow is like the Zapier, Zoho's own Zapier, right?
Yeah,
connects to all kinds of third-party applications, and you can do other stuff with it as well. So,
yeah,
the Flow team. All right, let's see. Number 3. It's getting real.
Zoho Forms. Have we had Forms on the list before?
Never.
I don't think we have we?
No. And it's gotten better, though. I mean, they now have it so you can do cards and, single screen.
Yep.
I mean, the integration, it's never made it. So, wow.
Yeah. Well deserved, honestly. Like, if I were to look back at all my implementations, that Forms makes its way in most of the time. Maybe it's on the website. Maybe it's I'm halfway through the deal process and I need information, right? There's so many little ways that you might just want to send out something and gather some data. So, no surprise, I guess, that it's climbing the ladders. It is a great tool and, one of those great things to be included in a bundle like Zoho One.
Yeah. All right. Number 2.
Old, reliable Zoho Analytics.
Favorite application.
Yeah, one of my favorites.
Yeah. That's a good one. So,
yeah.
What do you think the number 1 application should be?
This is the least surprising award of the year every year.
For the 5th year in a row. The number 1 Zoho.
Zoho CRM taking home the gold. No surprises here. This is Michael Phelps at the Olympics. We all know what's going to happen before the race even starts.
For years, we used to print these up and ship them over to India to the product managers, but you've got too many of them. No more. So we're just going to send you a nice little PDF, little trophy award this year's CRM team. But good job. Was Biggin in the runner-up on the bottom one? No, they weren't, right? So Biggin hasn't cracked.
They didn't crack the top quite yet.
Yeah, I mean, that's top 7 now, right?
Yeah,
we had a 3-way We had a 3-way tie there. So I think, I bet you we're going to see Biggin next year.
Man.
There, no
wouldn't be
projects.
Yeah.
No projects.
It's not a surprise. Not everybody uses it. You got to be the right fit for projects. So
Yeah.
a lot of people, it's not quite the right tool for how they're doing their projects.
No Zoho Solo. I mean,
Surprisingly, yeah.
would have thought that would.
What was the one Zilum was going to make it up there
Zilum.
this year?
Zilum still exists.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, it does. All right, everybody, that is going to wrap up the CRM Zen Show for all of 2024. We look forward to you joining us in 2025. And as always, we would love to talk to you if you want to talk to us about Zoho. Just don't call us to talk about your family or anything like that. But if you want to talk about Zoho, please head over to Zenatta.com, click on Book a Meeting, and we'll be talking to you soon.
On the website is also where you'll find full episodes of the show, as well as links to all the stories we discussed today. If you want that news delivered straight to your inbox every Monday morning, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter. And last but not least, we always appreciate when you like and subscribe here on YouTube, as well as your choice of podcast app. We'll see you next Friday.
The CRM Zen Show was produced by Podcaster Zen.
Take care, everyone. And I'm retiring 2 shakes of a lamb's tail and all that speedy.
Oh, tragic.
It's done. It's gone. Putting it
That is tragic.
Happy New Year, everybody.